This is the new Chrysler 200 from Detroit, and set on wowing with styling and modern flair. Its design team worked overtime to make sure that its new look would draw in shoppers with a sporty and elegant and upscale and athletic presence, and these great-looking wheels, exhaust, headlamps, and tail lamps. It's an entry luxury car designed to break from the beige and bloated masses in a great big way. And on board, well, the styling is a knockout. The right materials fall to your fingertips in most of the right places, but the big story here is the color and layout and trim selection. It looks gorgeous in here, especially with this anodized metal finish splashed throughout and this great-looking instrument cluster with finely detailed dials and a digital display screen and this uniquely shaped center console. Little upscale details abound throughout, all with the goal of helping this machine hit above its price point when it comes to looks. Features? Yeah, the loaded tester had all of them. A giant panoramic sunroof, automatic everything, push-button start, plenty of hookups for connecting your media and recharging your toys, and a navigation, entertainment, and communication interface accessed on this central screen by one of the most intuitive and fastest reacting systems on the market. This thing responds fast rather than lagging and choking like a Commodore 64 trying to compute the volume of the universe when you flick quickly through the menus. There's some delightfully different and innovative stuff inside too. This shift dial, for instance, takes up just a sliver of space as opposed to a standard shift lever, meaning you've got more room for one of my favorite things, at-hand storage. And speaking of storage, there's also this genius bin system mounted beneath the center console and this open space underneath. I've never driven a sedan with this much room for your stuff all around you, and if you're a fan of onboard storage and keeping organized on the move, whether you're using your car as a family runabout, mobile office, or otherwise, you'll love it. And in back, there's a big and generous trunk, so packing for a few days of summer camping should prove no issue. In all, looks-wise, inside and out, this 200 nails it and has plenty of room to keep organized on the go and is highly functional on board, not to mention uniquely designed and attention-grabbing and full of details.
First impressions are so important when you've got a new car and you're trying to break into the mental radar of a shopper that's out there test driving a bunch of your competitors. And automakers seek to create that positive first impression in a variety of different ways. They know they've got kind of 20 to 40 seconds to really blow your socks off when you first physically walk up to the car, open the door, take a seat, and look around. And with this new 200, well, you've seen the exterior styling, it's gorgeous. That's going to make a positive first impression. When you take a seat inside, you've got these nice contrasting colors and modern interfaces and nice little detailed touches throughout. But I think my favorite thing in here is how they've mounted this control panel down here. So it's out of your line of sight. When you're looking out the window, you don't really see it. So what that leaves you with is a nice, clean, unobstructed view of the world around you. Helps you sit back and relax. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be the design that's really this machine's strongest attribute.
The powertrain is a pretty strong attribute too. Up here you get Chrysler's new award-winning Pentastar engine, a do-it-all V6 that's finding places across the brand's model lineup. 3.6 liters and 24 variable valves are good for a very potent 295 horsepower here. The engine has a nice meaty howl to it. It isn't that quiet, but it sounds real good, perhaps supporting the sporty side of this machine. The tester got all-wheel drive, further setting it apart from most competitors who don't offer it. All models ship with a 9-speed automatic. That's a few too many gears in my opinion, but it does enhance mileage and performance, so I'll take it. The ride is nicely balanced between sporty and comfortable. It's similar to the Ford Fusion or Honda Accord Sport if you're cross-shopping. The steering is loosely locked onto its line and slightly sporty in terms of ratio. All said, you've got a machine that should prove adequately comfortable for long-distance drives and adequately capable of browsing some winding highway stretches at speed. It's not a handling weapon, nor is it a giant tub of coagulated gravy, but most should find it a nice mix of athletic and laid back. Added up, you get fuss-free all-weather traction, plenty of juice for passing and merging, and a pleasing and smooth howl as the big V6 gets spinning fast. With 9 gears, the transmission shifts a lot, especially on hilly roads, though it handles most light throttle gear shifts so smoothly you'd hardly notice. That, plus the low highway revs supporting good mileage and a fairly fun-to-use manual mode with paddle shift helps add more appeal. If you like, you can get your 200 with a 4-cylinder engine and skip the all-wheel drive if you don't need it to save a couple bucks. Other notes, the brakes feel very well done. They bite with urgency from even a little press, maintain good consistent feel even in repeated fast stops, and add confidence during emergency braking. The Alpine stereo system is really good too, and the headlight system is notably impressive after dark. Of course, it's not perfect. Noise levels are average during highway cruising, rough roads coax plenty of noise from the thin tires wrapping the tester's big wheels, and the 200 is on the smaller side of the family sedan spectrum, so you won't feel as comfortable stretching out in here as you will in an Accord or a Passat. The rear seats are mounted curiously high, leaving your head curiously close to the ceiling liner, even if you're of just average height like me. And the thick window pillars up front and the oddly shaped rearview mirrors do limit visibility a bit, though a backup camera and blind spot warning system help to compensate. So let's sum up the latest killer-looking, super thoughtful family sedan from Detroit Rock City, and one which I'd say now has to be one of the best-looking affordable family sedans on the road. Fuel mileage after about 1,200 kilometers of driving landed at 9.1 liters per 100 clicks, which is about as good as I've ever seen in a nearly 300 horsepower all-wheel drive sedan. You'll like the looks, the equipment level for the money, the smooth and powerful V6, the unique and upscale cabin, and the performance from the headlights and brakes. The central command interface is one of the best out there too. Taller passengers will wish for more rear seat headroom, some drivers will wish for better visibility on account of the thick window pillars, and the transmission sometimes hesitates to gear down as if it's contemplating which of its 9 gears to call into action when you give it the boots. Ultimately, where standout styling, thoughtful touches, generous storage facilities, generous feature content, and a plethora of gorgeous and upscale details are priorities in your next family sedan, be sure to check this one out, as long as you haven't got rear passengers that are excessively tall. And if you think the 200 sounds pretty appealing for reasons like those, you'll also want to check out the Kia Optima and Ford Fusion.